everyone, Tommy Lee here. I am talking with Mark Chan, who is the lead pastor of Urban Voice Community Church. So, Mark, we've known each other for over 20 years right now. How are you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing all right. COVID has changed the world. I'm
Yeah.
working from home all the time now.
Hey, Mark, as we're starting this partnership with you at the Growth Center, share a little bit to the audience about yourself and your journey, whether it's where you were at before and what you're doing right now, too.
Well, before 2020, I am just a pastor of a local church, Urban Voice Community Church. We are at the city of Chicago. We started this church plan 4 years ago. So in 2016, Easter, we launched our church. And we are a small local church, and we want to do our best to serve the neighbor, serve in the city, preach the gospel, just typical, church plan. And 2020, COVID turned our world upside down, and we went online, and we have been going online for the last 9 months, and we have seen tremendous growth online. And this is something I have never expected.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And Mark, in some sense, I love what you say. You never expected it because it's not like when you went online, you have the whole intention of reaching to people outside of Chicago and to China, Hong Kong, Shanghai, wherever it is, right?
Yeah, it's tremendous. Since mid-March, of course, we changed the online streaming, and all kinds of ministries going online. It's only for our local church. It was the original intention, right? The original intention was to survive, right? It's to change our platform, since we cannot meet physically, but we can do it virtually. But 2 months later, we have seen tremendous growth in our YouTube channel. So we started with a few hundred subscribers. Now we have grown to almost 8,000 subscribers.
Wow.
And people just come onto our channel, watch our worship live streams, our sermon contents, and our teachings. And we have started our online Sunday school, a so-called Sunday school, our just Bible classes, right? And we did it online, and we attracted so many people. They have interest in learning, virtually learning the Bible and getting equipped. So we did one class last month, and it was totally online using Google Classroom, YouTube videos, and Zoom. Virtual meetings. We did 5 weeks, and we had 70 students from all over the world, from Hong Kong, Canada, Southeast Asia, Hong Kong, and the United States, East Coast and West Coast. And it's totally just blew my mind.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, for those who don't understand, why is there such an interest? Is it because of what's happening with the Chinese government, what's happening in Hong Kong and Shanghai that's creating all of this, that's causing things? Is there a need to really be able to disciple and train ministry leaders in Asia, specifically in the China region?
Yeah, I think one of the big factors is the political situations. Of course, China hasn't changed. Still very close to the gospel, and the churches are being persecuted, and crosses being taken down, and all that. It hasn't really changed in the past few years. But Hong Kong has been, under a tightening grip of the communists. The national security law has had many people worry, especially churches. I've met with some church leaders virtually in the past few weeks, and they expressed concern about the freedom of religion, freedom of faith and churches in Hong Kong. And people are just going online these days because of COVID, and part of the big factor is COVID, and people are just looking online, YouTube, and for solid contents, right? For solid theological, biblical training, materials, just push people, just to go online.
Got it. Hey, so for all of these individuals, are these pastors, as you talk with them, are these pastors of churches, or are these bivocational pastors, or ministry leaders, or business leaders who want to be able to be lay leaders in their church?
It's a mixed bag. Definitely some pastors are going online looking for further training, right? And serious lay leaders, most of them are Bible teachers or disciplers in their local churches, in their own areas. Many of these people are professionals. They are not ministries workers full time. But they are just committed to get equipped, and they find new ways these days, especially in 2020 because of COVID, new ways to get equipped and to get advanced in their faith, in their understanding of the world, and try to integrate faith and their own work.
Yep.
All right.
Got it. Perfect. And so as a result, since March, what has happened? Suddenly you've grown in a way that you or the church actually has never expected to be doing what you're doing. How has that changed, and how have you built off on it since the last 5-6 months?
That's definitely is exponential growth of the need for solid content online. So we try to keep up. We honestly, to be honest with you, we try to keep up. We just don't know what next step will look like. But now we have put everything online, and we have started classes online. Attract many students, attract many people coming to our classes and express interest in joining our classes. So I think there's a great potential to provide solid theological content, on the virtual platforms, so people around the world can get equipped.
Yeah. And everyone, as you're listening to it, this is where the Grow Center is coming into the picture, because again, I've known Mark for over 20 years, and what he's doing, I love the entrepreneurial spirit. And so in some sense, we've been talking a lot, the role of the pastor has changed. And so suddenly he's identified this need and realized, I am more than just a pastor of my local church. Are there opportunities in light of this COVID to start something new? And so as a result, we want to come alongside, invest in him, and come alongside and help him out as well too. And so Mark, share a little bit about the plan that we're thinking about.
I definitely echo with your comments. I originally thought that I would be just a local church pastor, right? Physically getting in touch with neighbors and people around the block. Definitely this will not change. And even in the midst of COVID or after COVID, I will continue to do my local ministry. But because of 2020, because of what is going on in the world, I feel like I'm putting on another hat. And the hat is going to be global, right? To be global in our reach, because the barriers are down, and we can definitely put something solid, something great, biblical content, leadership, training materials online, and people are really open to this. And so we have a big. I have a few gifted individuals, volunteers, who are really enthusiastic about this opportunity to reach out to just the rest of the globe. Never thought of that. And we had quite a few virtual events that we invited not only our local church members, but members, people around the world. And they are very positive about this sort of classroom without wall, church without wall, that sort of things. And actually yesterday, we started a Facebook group just for this people, and many of them joined, and they expressed interest to continue to learn in this kind of medium. They don't mind meeting online. They are very comfortable. They find this kind of online education, online materials, online ways of learning, flexible, and can be self-paced, and they can get equipped, like 24/7, right? Traditionally, they go to their church and find good content in the classroom, in the physical classroom, and as you know, in the local church, the resources are limited, right? We don't have the best teachers, right, in our local church. And now the virtual platform is open, and people are just looking for good teachers and good leaders and mentors, around the world. And this is tremendous opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm very glad that the vision of Growth Center is to go outside of our four walls, right, to the end of the world, right, in the virtual world, and provide great content, online. This is tremendous.
Yeah. And honestly, some of the classes that Mark and I are talking about is some of the certificates, preaching the New Testament, understanding the biblical world, preaching the Old Testament, integration of faith and work, Christian and culture are some of the ones that we're looking at as classes that really want to develop. And we want to be able to find Western speaker, Eastern speakers, local speakers, all of that to really be able to help the leaders in China or Hong Kong or Chinese speaking leaders continue to learn and grow.
Right, exactly. I'm very excited with the certificate or courses that we have come up together, especially the faith and culture.
Yeah,
I think there's a tremendous need for Christian leaders to integrate their faith with the larger world, right?
Yeah.
The world has enlarged so much, and you just cannot just stay in your own neighborhood block.
Yeah.
Right, it's a global community. I think this is tremendous. People can get equipped how to integrate the faith, how to integrate their marketplace, right, with their Christian faith. Yeah. So this is tremendous.
And Mark, in some sense, if anyone knows me, Mark and I grew up, or Mark spent about 20-something years in Chinatown, Chicago. I grew up in Chinatown, Chicago. A lot of times with the Chinese speaking, you could sit there and be in your own community, a bubble of Chinatown for many decades, a good portion of your life. The whole idea of integration of culture and understanding culture and how that fits within our own biblical theology is something that a lot of people just don't talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Especially the global culture, especially intercultural issues, right? Like what you said, I mean, we not only the church, the local churches sometimes perpetuate that kind of bubble, that kind of just monolithic, your own environment, and get comfortable with it, right? Now, there's nothing wrong, people are still faithful to God, but I think the world has changed so much, and you need to break outside of your own bubble and to have conversation, at least, right? To have exposure of what other cultures are doing and how God is moving in other parts of the world, to get connected with the larger, wider context, so we can advance the kingdom together, right? Instead of staying in our own bubble and staying in our own comfort zone.
Yeah. Hey,
and now Mark, this online platform has enabled and empowered many people to just get outside of themselves, right? And to listen to great speakers and great leaders, what they talk about, right? And they can get equipped, and they can integrate their own faith in their own local context.
Yeah. And Mark, for those who are just listening, they may live in different parts of the world where they're not exposed to China or Hong Kong or what's happening in there. I mean, when we talk about what's happening there, we're literally talking about billions of Chinese people who are individuals in that country.
Right, exactly. We heard news stories about how many Christians are there in China, how much growth they experience in mainland China. But what we don't hear so much in the West is that their growth are very just numbers. There were tons of people going to church, but their lives, their faith outlook, their foundation is very shallow. So I have heard different sayings that the next phase will be the Christianity in China will be the leader of the world Christianity. I don't
Yeah.
think so at this point. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because, as you know, spiritual growth is not just numerical, right? It's not just about numbers. It's about the life being rooted, in the biblical faith and the ability to integrate, faith and culture and the larger world, right? And this is very, very lacking in mainland China, even in Hong Kong. And as you said early on, the political situation has prevented the churches in China and the Christians in China and Hong Kong from growing this way, right? But the new opportunity, the new potential now is that the online platform will be able to get these people out of their bubble, that huge bubble, and they can get connected and they can learn how to integrate their faith. And this is I think this is a God thing that COVID has pushed people to think in new terms, right? To learn in new ways, and to get educated theologically, and to deepen their faith in a totally new manner.
Yeah. And the hard part is the traditional seminaries, sometimes you're only able to touch so many students, and the cost makes it so cost prohibitive. You need to create something where we're all working together,
Exactly.
non-traditional, non-formal,
Exactly.
where it's not cost prohibitive, but it's flexible enough to really be able to reach out to people where they're at.
Yeah, I'm totally for that. It has to be affordable. It has to be self-paced. It has to be student-centered. Whatever situations or context we are in, we're talking about, the potential tons of people, billions of people, in China, in their own context. They need to find ways to integrate the faith, right?
Correct.
And they need to have a menu. They need to have options. They are not being locked down into a traditional classical, training track. Nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with that if that suits their purposes, right? But because we're living in a very complex world, and even their local contexts are so complicated, and they need to find their own ways to assemble and configure what they need, right? So that's what I meant by student-centered, right? It's not just the teacher dictating what you're going to learn, but they can take charge of their own, their own life, their own faith, their own spiritual journey. And this is what I need, and I will go pick, A and B and C. It's not about, trying to perpetuate pick and choose culture. There has to be some foundational training, right? But on top of that, if I am interested and I need that sort of integration between my faith and work, for example, I cannot go to a traditional seminary to get educated. There's no way that I will get what I need, right? And I need to find some, self-paced and affordable ways to equip myself, right? So I think Growth Center can do a lot in designing programs or certificates or courses that would cater, to that kind of niche.
Yeah. Mark, I totally understand this because of my other hat that I wear, Resource Global. We work with Chinese, Indonesian business leaders. In Nairobi, I work with Kenyan business leaders. But the whole idea I keep telling them is I want you to learn from Christian pastors. I want you to learn from Christian local business leaders. But I want you to learn from global business leaders. I want you to listen and be exposed to different things, because in this world of global networks, when we hear from different things, you're now asking a question: why are they saying what they're saying, and what can we learn from each other and from those teachers?
Yeah, and you're right. I'm a pastor, and I need to learn from other people, other professionals in their own, non-pastoral fields, right? As you said, pastors, we have a tendency to live in our own bubbles as well, right? Because our ministries are busy, and we're trying to keep up with the demands of weekly work in the local church. but it will be inspirational. It will be challenging for me to get exposed and get connected with other leaders, right? Christian leaders, and what I can learn from them will be tremendous. And this sort of things cannot be offered by traditional classical seminary education. There's no way, right? I have been Master of Divinity training. It's great training. It's great foundational things that I need for ministry, but I cannot stop there, right?
Yeah.
I cannot just stay there. I need to listen to other professionals, what they have to say about this wider world, right? How they integrate the faith, how they understand the faith, right? And what they actually need from the pulpit, right?
Yeah.
So the potential is open up even for me as professional minister. I can go to this new online virtual community to learn from other people.
Yeah.
Right? And they can learn from me as well.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's a great way to get connected and mutually benefit each other for my ministry and for their ministry and for their weakness, in their own context.
Yeah. Like, for instance, I think a lot of times, Mark, I think this is what you're saying. You have a Chinese-speaking lay leader in China, or then you have another leader in Hong Kong. You have another one who's living in Canada. You have another one living in Chicago, or another one living in LA. We're all Chinese individuals. We're all faith-based, but where we've raised up, where we are, how then do you not only learn from the teacher that's there, but learn from each other through our shared experiences?
Exactly. I really enjoy as I said, I had a 1 month class just concluded, and in the final concluding session, we had the Zoom session with 60 students together, all around the world, from different parts of the world, from different walks of life. And we can enrich one another. And what turned out to be what was originally planned to be a 1 hour meeting turned out to be 3.5 hours, because we enjoy our presence of each other so much that we can ask questions, we can inquire into what God is doing in our own lives, and we can learn other stories. What a tremendous learning platform and community we can create these days.
Yeah. Hey, last question as we wrap up here, Mark. And a lot of times we're going to post this on the Growth Center website and with some description of our project so you guys know what's going on. Mark, a lot of times we hear about security issues, we hear about Wi-Fi issues, all of that stuff. As you work on these classes, how do we anticipate, how do we prepare ourselves where people are not coming in who shouldn't be there or compromise the security risk of these videos?
That's very, very interesting. 2 weeks ago, I met with 2 pastors from Hong Kong. The first question they hop onto Zoom is asking, what server are you using?
Yeah.
It was a Canadian server we were using, so they felt safe, right? So I think this can be done with some IT professionals, being intentional about making sure, people in China, in Hong Kong are not being jeopardized because of our online conversation. I think it can be done, and we just have to be intentional about it. And I think there is also a window still open, while the grip of the communists is increasing in what used to be a free city, Hong Kong. There is still a window of opportunity for us to grab. And we can do so much for the kingdom, and we have to seize the opportunity, to get our word in there and to get the people connected, so that they will be equipped no matter what falls on them.
Yeah, very, very good, very good. Hey, and for those who are wondering, why isn't Mark on live? Mark couldn't figure out, or we couldn't figure out how to get Mark not upside down. And so you're seeing this young picture of Mark Chan on here. And so one day we're going to have you on live for you to really be able to meet everyone here, Mark.
It'll be great. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, thank you very much. And you're going to
Thanks for
find
having
more information. And we want to make sure that we continue to honor and steward our projects well. And so every single project that we launch, we're going to continue to give you updates and also share a little bit of what
Yes.
we're trying to do. So, Mark, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tommy.
All right. We'll talk soon.